He arouses the essence of the soul of every Jew, the essence of the soul. This is done not by Moses, this is done more, be'ikr, mainly, what arouses the essence of the soul of the Jew. Right? Moses attaches the Jews to God, makes God more real, makes God more valuable to a Jew, makes God more important. But who is it that arouses the Jew to the point where he's willing to have self-sacrifice? Namely, to arouse the essence of the soul, even above the level of the soul that sees God? That's by means of not Moses, but as pashtusa delay. Moses, the branch of Moses in the time of exile. Katit, crushed. Sha'ororo, that Moses arouses, that the representative of Moses in every generation arouses in the Jews koach, the power of Mesirat Nefesh Elohim, the power of their self-sacrifice. She'al Yedei Zeh, by means of this, who is Ikar, main, Giloi, revelation, Etzem and Neshama, of the essence of the soul. Namely what? Me'or. So what did we say before? Before in our Maamar we said there's two reasons why Jews believe in God. That's how we started the class today. One is that the Jew sees God from the essence of his soul. He sees God. And says the Rebbe, this is not really the essence of the soul. This is from the essence of the soul. He sees God, therefore he's willing, he believes in God, he feels God, he's doing the commandments, he's willing to sacrifice time and space and money and everything for Hashem is everything. But he's not necessarily willing to sacrifice his life. And the essence of the Jewish soul, okay, you with me, Akiva?
Yeah.
The essence of the Jewish soul is that a Jew is willing to sacrifice his life. Says Rebbe, who is the one that arouses this faith? Moses. And the Moses of every generation. But there's a difference. The Moses that took the Jews out of Egypt, he aroused the first level of godliness. The Jews saw God. They saw the godliness in their soul. But it still wasn't the essence of the soul. What brings out the essence of the soul is the exile. And that's what Mordechai did. And the rabbis coming after him, including the previous Rebbe, that they aroused in Jews the thing of self-sacrifice for the exile. We'll see what the previous Rebbe did, something special that even Mordechai didn't do. We'll see in 1 second what the Rebbe is talking about. That's called the me'or, katit li'me'or, crushed up for the illuminator, for the source of light. The first level of the Jewish soul that believes in God sees the light of God, sees God. But the second level, which is the essence of the Jewish soul, this is not the light of God, but this is the source of the light of God. Okay, Mr. Smith? The Tzarech Lab, we have to understand that Lafi Biur now, that according to what we said before, Ha'inyan, the topic of Katit Lama'or, of crushed up for the illuminator, Shayach is relevant, Li to Va'ata Tetzaveh, that you should command or connect the Jewish people. And this, that the Jewish people are crushed. And by means of being crushed by exile, they revealed the me'or, the essence of their Jewish soul. This is connected somehow, or that the idea that Moses, he connects the Jews to God, the lower level of faith. That which Moshe, as Pashtusa Delay, and the branch of Moses, and the representative of Moses, should be called Dor in every generation, Mekashrim attaches, Umechabrim and joins, as Israel, the Jewish people, Im or Ein Sof with or Ein Sof, Ube'akatuv Ne'amar, and in the Torah it says, Katit Lema'or, crushed up for the source of light. Behemshech, in a continuation of what it says, that Moses, Vayikhu Elecha, he should take to himself this pure oil. This taking of Moses, taking it to himself of pure oil, She Yisrael, that the Jewish people, Mevi Shemen, they bring oil to Moses. What does this mean? Who is She Yisrael, that the Jews, Mosifim, they add Tosafos or an additional light in Moses. Kamuva la'el, like we said before, and save base from the Maamar. So Moses, by means of bringing the Jewish people to self-sacrifice, this squeezes the Jews. This brings out the pure oil of faith. And this also increases Moses himself. Moshe himself gets some sort of an increase. That's why it says the Jewish people have to bring to Moses. They have to bring this oil to Moshe. We'll see what this means.
What is Mechaveri?
Huh? What?
Mechaveri. Mekashrim.
Mechabrim, join. Mekasher and mechaber is almost the same word. To join and to attach. Hine, behold, Hakasuv, in this sentence that we brought before in the Maamar, that what? That the Jewish people only on Purim did they fulfill what they received on Mount Sinai about 1,000 years earlier. What's the sentence that says? V'kibala Yehudim es asher hechilu lasos. The Jewish people finally accepted what they began to do at Mount Sinai. On Purim, the Jewish people really accepted the Torah in a full way that it had been given to them 900, 1,000 years earlier. Medaber, this is talking about when. When did the sentence say? When was the sentence that the Jewish people finally accepted the Torah that had been given to them on Mount Sinai? When was the sentence said? On what exact occurrence was it in the miracle of Purim? When did it say that the Jewish people finally accepted the Torah? When was that? Not when Haman made the decree, and not when they stood firm, and not right before the war, and not during the war. When was it? This sentence that said that the Jewish people accepted, they finally fulfilled the Torah after a 900-year wait. When was it said? Acharei, after the miracle of Purim. This sentence is said after the miracle of Purim. V'yesh lomar, we can say, the Mash Katuv, that what it says in the Maamar. The Perush, that the meaning of Kibala Yehudim, that the Jews accepted, Et asher echil lasot, that which they began to do. This is Yibiyamei Achashverosh, in the day of Achashverosh, Kiblu, they accepted Mashe echil, what they began in Mount Torah. When did the Jews really accept Matan Torah? When? After the miracle. After the miracle, they didn't need self-sacrifice anymore. Well, we thought that what it meant, that the Jewish people, because of their self-sacrifice, in the holiday of Purim, they did something that they had not done ever in the history of the Jewish people. They had self-sacrifice for Judaism. They were willing all to die. Even on Mount Sinai, they didn't have this. This is what God wanted from the Jews. For all this time, He was waiting for the Jews to do it. And finally, in the holiday of Purim, they did it. They had self-sacrifice. If so, why does it say that the Jews fulfilled what God wanted after the miracle of Purim, after they had the self-sacrifice? It should have said that they fulfilled God's will with their self-sacrifice. But it doesn't say that. It says that the Jews finally accepted what God gave on Mount Sinai. When was the sentence said? After the whole miracle was finished. Right at the end of the Megillah. After the whole thing was finished, the whole miracle was finished, and Achashverosh gave all these presents to Mordechai and to Esther. Who is Lefi, because Pashta Sakasuv, the simple meaning of the sentence, Shiva of here. Of, quote, V'yekabel, that the Jews accepted. When was it? Reish Pei Daled. Okay, you have it? She, vit, kibel. She of, and after the shin, put a little quotation marks there. This was Acharei Hanes, after the miracle. Al Pizeh, so according to this, that what? Was it really the self-sacrifice that God wanted, or was it something after the self-sacrifice that God wanted? What was it that pleased God and said, finally the Jews got the point of the Torah? Finally. When they had self-sacrifice, that's what the Rebbe led us to believe up to now in the Maamar. Right? The self-sacrifice, that was the thing that God wanted. Here it seems no. That when did it say that the Jews finally did what God wanted at Mount Sinai? When? Something happened after the miracle of Purim, after the self-sacrifice. What is this? What could it be? We'll see. Al Pizeh, according to this is okay. Hoya was la acharei, after the miracle. Al Pizeh, according to this, Pizeh, and this should be made that in the days of Achashverosh, that in the days of Achashverosh, Kiblu, they accepted. Ma what? Shechilu, they began. On Matan Torah, and Torah. So if so, there must be two things here. One of them is HaKabbalah, the acceptance of the Torah, namely their self-sacrifice, Bizman, in the time of the Gezerah, of the decree, Al Yadei, by means of Hamasirut Nefesh, self-sacrifice, Shalem. Like it says in the Maamar. That was one acceptance the Jews accepted, was their self-sacrifice. They were willing to die rather than say, I'm not Jewish. But there must have been something else. Because in the Megillah of Esther, it says that the Jews finally accepted the Torah. When was that? After the miracle. HaKabbalah, the acceptance of the Torah, Shahaya, that was Acharei Nes Purim, after the miracle of Purim. And this self-sacrifice that the Jews had after the miracle of Purim, when already they didn't need to have this attitude of, I'm willing to give my life for God. This self-sacrifice, and we'll see what it was, Shehi Nailit, it is higher, Yoter, more. Gam, also, Mea Kabbalah, from the acceptance, Bizamana Gezerah, in the time of the decree. Okay, what is this? What happened? What did they do after the miracle of Purim that was such a great thing? What did they do? Yesh Lomer, we can say, Sha'al Derech says similarly, who it is, Benageya, Katit Lamaor, to being crushed up for the illuminator. Sha'al Yadeh, that by means of, Ha'inyan, the topic, to Katit, of being crushed up in the time of exile, Megi'im, you can reach Me'or, to the illuminator of the soul, the essence of the soul. Me'or. There's also here two different topics. First one, Kishi Yisrael, when the Jewish people, Nimsa'im, are found, B'matzav, in a situation, Shel Katit, of being crushed up. What does it mean being crushed up? Like the Jewish people in the time of the Holocaust, in the time of Stalin, Jews in Russia, Mitzad, because of their B'matzav, in a situation, in a condition, Shel Katit, of being crushed. Mitzad zeh, because of this, Sheyeshnam, that there are Gezeros, decrees, Al, on Kiyum Torah v'mitzvahs, doing the Torah and the commandments. Kamo, like Shaya, it was Bizman, in the time Amira Samaimer, when the previous Rebbe said his essay. When was that? 1927. 1927 was among the hardest years in Russia. 1927, up to the end of the 30s. There was a well-known thing. I just read about it last night. I never read about this before. What was it? The Secret Papers, or the Secret Speech, or something like that. Secret Speech. That Khrushchev in Russia, Stalin died in 53, I think, and Khrushchev took over. In 56, he made a meeting a secret meeting of all of the members of the Communist Party. They were not allowed any reporters or outsiders were there. He gave a 4-hour speech that was supposed to be secret. It was all written down, was passed, about how evil Stalin was. About how evil Stalin was, and how Stalin went against all the principles of communism, and that he made himself into a god, but he started detailing how many people he killed, and how he killed people, and how he killed even valuable people, and people that were his friends, and people that were loyal communists and loyal this. And they said that when he said this, there were even people in the crowd that they had heart attacks, and that they revealed things that people didn't know, and how terrible that the man was. It says in 1927, this was in the beginning. This was and public enemy number one of Stalin was the previous Rebbe. The previous Rebbe was public enemy number one. He started within Russia an anti-communist organization, and he was spreading out teaching. What is it? Teaching children Torah and mitzvahs, teaching children that there's God, that you have to believe in God. This was totally opposite Stalin's ideal. Stalin's thing was he was God, and communism was the only this. He killed hundreds of millions of people. They say Stalin killed, not hundreds of millions, tens of millions of people Stalin killed. They say he killed up to 50 million of his own people. To kill a Jew was like nothing. To kill absolutely nothing. To kill a person was nothing. Right? Absolutely nothing. And here the previous Rebbe, instead of being smart and keeping a low profile and trying to just to get out of there to Russia, like every normal Jew, every normal Jewish leader did, right? He sent out emissaries all over, and he made secret schools, and he made mikvahs, crazy stuff. And the previous Rebbe eventually was put into prison, sentenced to death, and he got out. That's when the previous Rebbe said this Maamar, 1927. That's when he said it. Al Yadei Zeh, by means of this, when there's these terrible decrees, Megim, we can reach Lameor, to the illuminator of the soul, Al Yadei, by means of a Mesiras Nefesh Elahem, by means of self-sacrifice. That's one thing. But and also in there's another topic, Bekasis Lameor. There's another topic in crushed up to the illuminator. What's this? Getting to the essence of the Jewish soul. You can get to the essence of the Jewish soul when there is difficult times. Another way is Shagam, that also Kishi Yisrael, when the Jewish people Nimsaim are found B'matzav, in a situation Shel Harchava, even when the Jewish people are not under any pressure and there aren't any difficulties and there's nothing wrong, it's after the decree and everything is wonderful. The Jewish people are, how do you say, on the mountain. They reached the pinnacle, and now the king likes the Jews and he gives them all sorts of benefits, and the Jews are free and they saw they won. But nevertheless, this is the real time for Mesiras Nefesh. How? Harchava b'gashmis, even when Jews are in a wide way, spiritually. B'harchava baruchnes, and they have plenty, even spiritually. They can sit and learn Torah, they can do anything they want. Ella, but shehem, they are nimsim b'galus, but they're found in exile. The Jewish people, they can learn Torah, and they do, and they learn Torah, and they daven, and nothing is stopping them from doing, and they do it all. They sit and they learn Torah. This is the time when you really need Mesiras Nefesh. How can you have Mesiras Nefesh? For what? On what? To learn a little more Torah. That's better than saying, I'm a Jew, I'm willing to die. That's higher. What's it talking about? Al derech hamatzav. Like, for instance, the situation that was after the miracle of Purim, Shel Yehudim, that the Jews, Hayata was, or of a simcha v'sasam v'yakar, the Jewish people had light and joy and rejoicing and happiness and glory. It's right at the end of the Megillah, after the whole miracle, after all the pressure, after everything, the Jews was good. Then it says v'kibul Yehudim. That's when it says the Jews received what they began on Mount Sinai. Pashtos, simply they have houses, they have homes, they have health, they have everything. And also Baruchness, also spiritually, the Jewish people were spiritually on a tremendously high level. V'yeterem mizeh, even more. Shagam Beit Haman, even Beit Haman was given to Esther. It says that the Jews were so successful that the non-Jews, Rabbi Mi'ami Oretz Misyahadim, The non-Jews wanted to convert. They all wanted to convert to Judaism. Shahaya az, that there was then, hamala des hapcha. Everything was transformed. It wasn't that Jews had to just force. The world was transformed to Judaism. Everybody saw. It's like here after the 6 Day War. After the 6 Day War. The 6 Day War, everybody saw. Hui, God is with the Jews. Everyone saw in the world. The whole world was going crazy. It says, Ella, but nevertheless, says that's the time that a Jew is akate now of the Achashverosh. Then you have to really feel that you're a slave of Achashverosh. Why? You're not. They're not slaves. Nevertheless, the Jews had to be shvurim, broken, v'nidka'im, and crushed. Mizeh, from the fact, from what fact? There's no decrees on their heads. No one's threatening their life. They can learn Torah. They can walk around the streets with their tefillin on. There's no Hamans anymore. The enemies are not going to destroy all the Jews. Nothing wrong. What are they? What type of crushed should they be? Why should they be crushed? They should just be happy. It says the Yehudim Ora v'simcha v'sasan. Why should you be crushed? Said Rebbe, now is the real time to be crushed. The crushed because the fact that you're in Gullus. Fa'al Yadei, and by means the fact that the Mashiach is not here, that should crush everybody. It's not the Mashiach is like the cherry on the top of the cake. We have everything we need. Mashiach will come someday. Not only that, it should be such an important thing that Mashiach is not here, and that all the Jewish people aren't aware truly of what Hashem is, that it should be a thing that crushes you. Al Yadei, by means of Katit, by means of being crushed. The Yisrael of the Jewish people, Mizeh, from the fact, Shin Mem, that we were found in Galus and exile. And by means of this, Megim Lema'or, we reach from this you can get the essence of the Jewish soul. And that's what the previous Rebbe did. That's what the previous Rebbe did. Not just that the previous Rebbe was willing to stand against Stalin, that the previous Rebbe was willing to come to America where everything was free and everything was good and people were sitting and learning Torah and they had absolutely no problems and the government was even giving money, allocations to learn Torah, and to make those people crushed, to make them feel terrible that there's an exile, that there's one Jew that doesn't know about Judaism. That's the accomplishment of the previous Rebbe, as we're going to learn more tomorrow. What happened, Shmuley? Why do you come late?